Welcome everybody. Episode 25 of Steady Lads. We're live. It's been what a crazy week of hitting, close to 50K. And now as we're recording, we're seeing a little bit of a sell the news potentially on the ETF we want to get into. Of course, as usual, I'm Jordy, CIO of Selene Capital. We have Justin with us, CEO of Astaria, and Taiki, the humble farmer, multi-talented researcher, and Vicky got the wife beater on today. Is Simidar taking a day off, or are you kind of working so hard that you have to get some air?
Yeah, it's like kind of hot in here. I just moved into a new apartment, and I have like 20 tank tops, and that's the only thing I have.
I think the real thing that happened was Thicky was caught on the wrong side of ETH BTC, and he had to sell his kimono collection. It was real silk.
It's probably going to make you really angry to say this, Justin, but I literally bottom ticked ETH BTC long.
Okay. I would have expected nothing less. Yeah.
Never wrong. Yeah.
He's never wrong. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
before
the
we
chat
get
is
started,
in disarray.
Yeah. Before we get started, Jordy, it's come to our attention that you pulled a Kanye last week.
I pulled a Kanye. How did I pull a Kanye?
When you called out our friend, we're not going to say who, but someone we held on the show from a certain market maker, you pulled a Kanye. I had this clip prepared here. I think it's going to give everyone a little chuckle.
It amazes me that like some of the biggest, smartest traders in the space that I know, like ask me about it. They're like, "Hey, I'm trying to front run XYZ firm. I'll try to be sensitive." Okay, DWF.
I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media it went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor.
Well, there you go. There it is.
I felt like I had made it so obvious. I might as well just go for it there. It's been an exciting week. I think there's been a ton of memes, a ton of stuff going on. I've been running the meth lab contest meme. We'll get to that later on. That's been making us chuckle quite a bit. But let's the chat is loving it. Let's kind of talk a little bit about the ETF trading, and we have Thicky here who has been diligently following all the Bloomberg updates and trying to trade it all. Have you been sleeping much, Thicky, or are you just like day and night just kind of living
Sleeping
ETF
like a
right
baby
now? Yeah,
most of the action happens in US hours this week, so it's actually not been too bad.
that is the benefit of TradFi over crypto. It's that people actually get to sleep. There's weekends. The markets are closed on the weekend, so you have a life. So we're living a little bit of that, I guess, this week.
Yeah,
have things gone how you expected?
I think the actual inflows was as expected. I expected around 300 to 500 million on the first day. What was unexpected was just like the market reaction leading up to the ETF launch, and then the market reaction like during and after. That was like I don't think anyone could have expected what happened.
And when you say expected, do you mean like the ETH BTC ratio, or is this like chatting, or?
Well, just like what happened maybe 3 or 4 days before was that like they leaked that BlackRock had $2 billion of inflows lined up on day one, which is what caused BTC to like super send on Monday. And obviously like the fake tweet on the SEC causing like an approval headline in WIC was also something that no one could have expected. And it added some interesting metagame elements of like, oh, is it going to be subtle news on the approval now, or is it not? And yeah, there's just like a lot of weird things happen this week.
I mean, I have to say, like, it was. People keep talking, is it priced in, is it not priced in? I think what they fail to understand is there is no concept of priced in when there's mandatory flows. People are going to front run it, and the question is like, how hard will they front run it? But when you have like, call it price insensitive flows, like if this is kind of what we saw with Michael Saylor and his buying for years now. We see the same thing. while he's buying and people know that he's buying, the market kind of front runs it. And then as soon as he's done, we just get this like red wicks exactly like we're getting today. And the only reason of this happening is that you have price insensitive buying. It doesn't really matter what the price is. They have to buy, to meet some demand or some quota they have to meet. So this to me, this is just like Michael Saylor 10.0, what we're seeing right now.
Thinking like one of your predictions was that this ETF approval was going to mark at least a multi-month top. Is that still kind of your base case for the crypto markets?
I think so. I think a lot of people fail to realize that like this is the biggest unlock event in crypto history, because there's been $29 billion of GPTC that has been unable to redeem at par for years. And now that it's like finally, an actual ETF, a lot of that flow needs to leave.
And I think
Where
the
does it
majority
go?
of the majority of the
It just goes
volume.
into fiat. I think some of it's hedged, obviously, but I think a lot less of it is hedged than people thought. And I guess we'll see. We'll see where Bitcoin lands, then we can like make our assessment after that.
Well,
But-
if it was going to fiat, I mean, the discount to net asset value has like basically gone to zero. It's at 2.2-ish% now, I believe, last I checked. But leading up to the approval, it basically went to zero. So were people just waiting for that final move, that last 1% or last 2% to sell, in your mind?
Sorry, can you repeat that? My audio broke up my end.
Yeah, were people just waiting for that last 1 to 2% of price appreciation back up to NAV to sell? Or like, wouldn't of the people that wanted to exit to fiat have done that, and taken the 2% haircut while BTC was really pumping?
I think before it got redeemed, GPTC was super liquid. So like, if you have like a meaningful amount of size, like you can't really do that much before widening the discount. And then now that it's an actual ETF and it's trading, it's a lot more liquid now. So even though that it's like still at a 2% discount like it was before, like the amount being sold is like orders of magnitudes more.
I mean, for me, I think we're kind of overlooking just the simple explanation that, there was going to be some overreaction on the upside just based on, the constant buying. Nobody wants to sell. As soon as things calm down, there's a lot of profit to take. People will take profit in Bitcoin. And meanwhile, Larry Fink kind of surprised me by already starting on talking about Ethereum ETF. It seems like the media wants this story. The media loves what's next is Ethereum next. And I imagine that CNBC, Bloomberg will just, get this into the consciousness. And I'm much more optimistic than Thicky on the overall market here. I think that we will be having like a rotation to Ethereum, which I've been obviously calling for a couple of weeks, and today finally I don't look like a doofus. It's like really, really, really happening. But I can't see like a bear market for Ethereum right now. I think we're kind of just getting started. Wow, are we already okay? So
It's
we're
a
at
green
0.6.
dildo if I've ever seen one. Yeah, I think it's up like 18% this week.
28%.
Well, that's from bottom to
Yeah,
the
bottom to top. But I have a question for you guys. Like, so we'll pull up the Larry Fink quote soon. But obviously, BlackRock has put in an application for an ETF. The final deadline's in May. People are assuming it gets approved in May. But does this ETH rotation or ETH sort of leading the narrative over the next few months, is that not going to happen if the flows underwhelm? I'm really curious what your thoughts are, Thicky, because I know you've done such a good job of sharing flows on your Twitter account.
I think the verdict's still out there. I think with BTC, like, because this has never happened before, I think we, like, as Jordy said, we kind of got over our skis, and there ended up being like $10 billion of flows to front run, let's say 1 billion. The jury's still out. We'll see how much actually inflows come in a month or two. But that does set the benchmark for how we expect the ETH ETF to do. So if the BTC one does really well, then like the ETH ETF one could seriously catch a bid. And if it doesn't, then like we might not get as much exuberance for an ETH ETF as we did for the Bitcoin ETF.
How much are you guys in alternatives? Like we're actually seeing a few of them do well. I think Sui is having a little resurgence right now. Anything on that side that you guys think is particularly well positioned?
Like me personally, yesterday I think filed for a confidential IPO. I think that's going to be good for stablecoin projects. I mean, I've been in this mid curve, right? I'm the premium mid curver. I represent 68% of the population, and I've been long like Maker and Kanto. I think that has some tailwinds. I think Celestia is green today. I think Celestia ends up becoming like the Olympus of this cycle, where it's like the 3-3 meme, like stake it for airdrops. You just have endless flows going into this token staking, and it's going to be like the new passive income token, I think. So I think those are like pretty hot narratives. But yeah, I'm still unsure how Bitcoin ETF does. Sorry, Bitcoin Ether does. I guess the verdict's still out. You kind of just have to sit and watch and just evaluate how these tokens move.
You bring up a good point about stablecoin projects. I'm also think that's going to be a really competitive space this year. We saw Layer 0 just announce that treasury-backed stablecoin product that would accrue yield to holders. It's not really clear what geographic restrictions there are, but it looked pretty open when I checked it. I just did a quick review this morning. And then Ondo, who's I would say one of the leaders right now in treasury-backed stablecoins, but it's not available for US consumers. Their governance token exists, but it actually it should be unlocking in the next couple of weeks or so. The proposal is live now. So I do think it's going to be like a very interesting time for those projects. And I definitely agree, Taiki, that that's going to be a tailwind. But for me personally, because of our good friend and chief alchemist, Jordy, only thing I have exposure to besides ETH is Mantle, which has done pretty well, which I'm excited about. So thank you for that one, Jordy, and for shilling us on the meth turbo staking project.
Yeah, there's a little like competition, right? You have like the Aptos Sui competition. I think Metis and Mantle are trying to like break into like they're both like outperforming most things right now. So those like smaller L2s that are really growing fast. I see a lot of chat and in the meme about the meth supply. The meth supply has hit a cap. We are at the 250th. I think we're at 249,999.99. I don't think anybody else has enough small piece to get more meth. But
can you open it up again for us Steady Lads viewers?
Yeah, I think maybe we'll try to open it up a little bit more. We're getting a lot of clamoring. I think Bybit had just started like some kind of like promotion, and we like hit the cap before they could even get their people in. So I think there's going to be a lot of demand. We might raise it. Yeah, obviously we have to keep the 7.2 yield, so it's gonna be a little costly. I have to like dig into my pocket and find an extra thousands of meth to give
no
out.
more meme competitions after this one.
Jordy, where is the yield coming from?
So the treasury is about half of that. The Mantle treasury has put about half of that ETH, and we're trying to like just give out the yield from the treasury to the users, so that the users get double dose. Treasury gets nothing, but the treasury is still happy because we're getting a lot of users, and a lot of people can come to the L2 and use the meth in the meth lab and other places. So it's kind of a win-win that way.
It's like I did the math. It's let's say 2%, which is like 2% of 250K ETH at $2,500 is like 13 million.
Per what?
The rewards, like the
the
rewards.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. Very generous of you, Jordy. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a little 13 million rock of meth going out to everybody out there.
So Jordy, can we I mean, we've all seen the funny posts about Bankless rating the Optimism treasury for a few million. I think I saw Taiki tweet out that he's also looking to put an OP proposal. I'm wondering, can we get a Mantle proposal going to fund the Steady Lads pod? Maybe, let's say 10% of all that yield can just go straight to us, and I'll talk about Mantle all day.
I think we deserve at least something, right? So maybe we can discuss it.
Yeah, people.
The the people in the chats are making some interesting comments. They're saying Capo was right. It is so over. You know, when you have like day after day after day of like green candles, just like a single little dip, which is not even that bad. Everyone goes back to Capo immediately.
Yeah. We're back to prices seen 3 days ago, and people are saying it's over. See you guys next month.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But I think we want to make this one a bit more interactive today. There's a ton of people in the chat. We can get some interesting questions. They won't trap Loston. Oh man, I mean now like a bear market, like what would be like a bad scenario for Bitcoin at this point? Like 35, that would kind of make people feel like it's the end of the world. It's all about perspective, I guess. We just get used to the new normal, and
Yeah.
that new normal just keep changing.
Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but I was saying, and I think this is a healthy way to look at things, and you just have to pick what asset you're denominating in. But for me, like my crypto portfolio is my crypto portfolio, and I'm not really focused on trading that. But the one thing I really want to do is outperform BTC. I think Jordy was saying, it's not enough that I'm right; others have to be wrong, and maybe I've got a little taste of that. But all I really care about is the ETH BTC chart. If that's doing well, I'm happy because the money I have in crypto is for crypto. I'm not just going to, convert it to stable coins. So I'm happy.
That is exactly like the yearbook guy. I mean, you don't care about your own bags. You just want them to outperform the other guy's bags.
Yeah. It looks like we have our first question here. I think this should be for Taiki because I know you've been focused a lot on TIA. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually think so. I mean, I think, people, okay, so certain types of people, right? They just like want to buy something that like just ends up becoming like this crazy pump thing, right? Like Olympus or like whatever. And I think every cycle people get more sophisticated and the narratives get, I guess, yeah, like more sophisticated. And it's all about supply demand, right? Because right now the narrative for Celestia is that all these new rollups and chains are going to use TIA for DA, and all of these projects have tokens. They're going to airdrop to TIA stakers. So we're going to have this influx of, I guess, retail and like regular people just allocating X% of their portfolio into TIA, just staking it with a 21-day lockup. And I think, I mean, this is my personal opinion. I think we're still pretty early to the whole airdrop farming thing. I think it's going to be one of the biggest like retail narratives this cycle. I see it in my social metrics. I see it in other people's metrics. And I think the time you want to sell or like get out of this whole staking thing is like when people on TikTok start making like videos saying price doesn't matter because all the airdrops are going to make up for it, right? That's kind of like the whole if Olympus goes down 90%, like you're still going to make money, like that type of mentality.
That's a great like comparison. That's exactly the kind of stuff that we were hearing last cycle. It feels like everything is just running it back turbo. We have Daniele back, launching on Metis. We got Merp from Solana kind of acting exactly how Do Kwon was acting, doing the same, Twitter heavy-handed responses and all this kind of stuff. So I don't think we've learned much. And next week we might have a guest. We're planning potentially to have one of the insiders at Terra Luna, who kind of lived the whole war room and those like final days of glory. He wants to come and tell us maybe that we haven't learned the lessons from last time and kind of remind everybody. We might have some people that didn't really live the last cycle fully. There's some stuff that he's seen, some stories he wants to tell. So we'll try to have him on for you guys next week.
Should be a good show. Just a reminder, keep the questions coming. We've got a couple more, but if you drop your questions, we'll make sure to answer them live. And then also, please give us a like. I'm getting some reminders in our private chat that we should announce that. So there's a couple hundred of you guys listening, and all likes and shares would help. But we've got another question from Jeremy here. This is for Thicky here. What's the price target of this dump for BTC and ETH? Very specific question.
I'm not sure. I think Bitcoin we go down to like 40K, and then we chop there, and then maybe we go lower, maybe we go up. I'm not sure about ETH. I think ETH BTC is going to go up. It's kind of playing out exactly like the 21 Bitcoin futures launch, where like after they launched, Bitcoin dropped like 15%, and then ETH BTC went on like a 30% tear, and alts sent. I don't think the alts will send because they're already like pre-sent, but I do think the ETH BTC part is playing out. So yeah, I think ETH is will outperform BTC in the next week or so.
Are you still long ETH BTC then?
Then you muted, Thicky.
Yeah, he's focusing on his.
Oh no. I thought Justin was asking a question.
Yeah, I
Are
was
you still
asking if
long?
you're still long ETH BTC.
I cut it way too early. I'm kind of
Okay.
sad. Yeah, I
All
caught
right,
it.
so you're not always right. You're just right. Let's say 85% of the time, 90%.
I caught it at 4.8, and then I cut it at 5.2, and I was like, all right, it's done. And then it just kept going. Yeah, big bummer.
Oh,
That
I am like, I've been saying this will keep going on throughout the entire month and possibly like, quite a bit longer. This is not like a small, quick 20%. I think we have maybe new highs coming quite soon.
New highs, really?
Oh, absolutely. Very soon. I think
Wow.
before May.
Before
I don't
what?
think, I don't think people have any understanding. I'm saying on the ETH BTC ratio, not like ETH
Yeah.
itself.
That's still surprising to me.
No, I think people are just like way off the ball. And I've been very early on this. The Celsius thing has completely warped people's understanding of the demand and supply of these assets. We got this like early dump of an enormous amount from Celsius, which made people believe that, ETH is sort of like this cucked dead asset. I think it's just a short-term supply issue. Now that that's clearing up and the other stuff is all going to have supply issues, and people realize that, the puck is only going in one direction, it'll start feeding on itself. And we know how reflexive crypto always gets, right? Like once something starts to get attention, somebody puts some in the meth, there's more meth, everybody starts taking meth, they see other people, then suddenly you have like 700 million in TVL, which is like the most insane thing that I've experienced, like on the kind of more like building side. This is the same thing. We're gonna get this like reflexive action with Ethereum, and seeing Larry Fink today. People are asking about GCR in the chat. They're saying like, is GCR going to come on Steady Latch? Of course we would love to have him. I don't think he's done any podcasts yet. I know he's a listener of the show, so I know you're out there, GCR.
GCR, give us a like.
Give us a like. We need the like.
Wait, Jordan, you think ETH BTC is gonna go to like 0.09 by like May, like pre-ETF, I guess, like hype into the ETF? Is that your view?
Yeah, it could go a lot higher, to be honest. And I've usually been on the other side of that ratio. As the merge was happening, everybody was kind of calling for higher highs. I was the only one saying like, no, we're going lower. And now it feels like people are catching on. I'm seeing like on Twitter, the top guys on the leaderboards, the Chiefing Zaz and all these guys they're all saying, we're going much higher on ETH BTC. So my thesis is very simple. I just think the supply and demand is about to shift. Bitcoin is going to have a lot of supply issues. There's just coins that are going to be distributed out. ETH is going to have this deflationary comeback now, going into a potential ETF, and the reflexivity of it all is going to be huge. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of high GCRs in the chats. We miss you. I do miss GCR's tweets a lot. Thankfully, we get to sometimes chat with him on Telegram, and good to get his bullish thoughts on ETH as well. I think we'll try to convince him at some point to come.
we'll get him
on.
on. We'll get him on. I'm sure we can get him on.
Yeah.
Should
We'll get
we?
all the dudes.
Speaking of like old legends coming back though, like Light came back after almost a year of not tweeting, just to say ETH is going to lead the way, which is incredibly based.
Let's see what happens. Should we?
I was going to say, like, everyone knows that like if it were to start over today, Bitcoin versus ETH, like ETH would win. There's just no doubt about it. So, but like these repricings, like they always take a lot longer than people have patience for. But that's kind of inevitable.
Lost in this comment is cracking me up. Jordy makes one appearance on Pinkless and starts calling for ETH all-time high. I don't know if it's contagious, maybe, but hell, I like it. Should we get through some more questions? We got a lot that sort of came through Jordy's bullish ETH rant that I know we all appreciated. Let's see here.
That's really interesting.
I guess Thicky, you sort of touched on this, but is there anything you're expecting from GBTC redemption? Like, are you looking for a certain number as far as outflows, or are you just sort of tracking when that slows down?
Yeah, I have no idea. The issue is like the outflow numbers are like delayed by a day or two, so it's not really useful to track. It's just better to track the discount.
Yeah. That's like the one thing about crypto I started to appreciate is like you can actually track things in real time, whereas for TradFi it's like you have to wait 48 hours. So I guess like that's like one vote in favor of like things to be on
So,
I guess blockchain
so
rails.
opaque. Like crypto, it's like you get to see everyone's positioning live down to the second in OI and stuff. But in TradFi, it's like, oh yeah, you only get the OI data once a day, at 3 a.m. after everyone's done trading. It's so much more fun.
One thing I was thinking about is if we get some more data that comes in on like Saturday and Sunday about how the first 2 days of trading for the ETFs went, we could see a move over the weekend, which would be pretty interesting. But in any case, I see another question from Wanja here. Percent allocation of BTC and ETH and alts. For me, it's basically all ETH and then a little mantle. I know, Taiki, you're more out on the risk spectrum, right?
Yeah, I'm like 15% ETH, no Bitcoin, and all in alts. It's been that way for quite some time. So far, so good though. How about you, Jordy?
15 Bitcoin, 15 alts, 70 ETH.
Wow, that's so impressive.
I was talking to a colleague about this, and I was like, I don't even know how to securely store Bitcoin. I mean, I've got every hardware wallet imaginable. And for me to like learn the Bitcoin system and secure Bitcoin, which I've never done before, over just like buying WBTC would be like a huge hurdle, which I was like really shocked about earlier is, I got onboarded onto Ethereum. I never really bought any Bitcoin, and I've never really used the network. I mean, I've had some on Coinbase, but I've never self-custodied Bitcoin, which was sort of interesting to me. And maybe that prevents me from really calling myself a crypto OG.
Vicky, how about you?
I'm negative in all.
Negative everything. He's
Negative everything.
He's minus
Oh, he's
10%,
dumping
minus
it.
5%,
I'm
minus
not short ETH. I'm not short ETH. Don't worry.
Get this guy out of the stream.
Vicky, like the audience wants to know, like this week, you've been trading a lot. Is the P&L good or are we red? Like what's going on? How's our book looking?
Oh, very good. First 12 days of the year have been very good.
Wow. Okay. I'm jealous that you got rested over the break. I unfortunately did not have much break, and I've been just like there's just too much going on nonstop. But you feel refreshed, and 12 days you're already. Can you give us a percentage? How much is the portfolio up? I don't know. It's a little bit gossipy.
I feel like-
Maybe you can tell us.
I feel like I can't.
Oh, you can't say.
I feel like sharing stuff like this is like such a top signal. I remember when I went on Taiki's podcast about how like the top, like how alts were doomed and like it literally bottom tick alts. So like I will refrain from any hubris this time. I've learned my lesson.
Taiki's podcast is just like the up only of this cycle. You got Wangarian going on, and then the headline is like ETH is a cucked asset, and then like the week after just starts ripping.
I'm the counter signal. Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of also like we're the opposite of up only because of the guests that we've had. They're actually all doing well. I mean,
Say's up a lot.
Say's up a lot. We had like Andre. It seems like DWF
I'm sure he's up a lot.
Yeah, they're milking the market pretty good. I'm sure Cred. You guys remember Cred, our first guest?
Dude,
What funny way.
What? How am I the Jim Cramer, dude? Oh my god.
It's funny.
Scooter
Dude, my
said
coins are
Taiki's
up a
the-
lot, guys. My coins are green today.
That Kanto position.
If
He's
anyone
up
goes on
today.
Ike's pod,
Yes.
you short them. If anyone goes on Steady Lads, you long them. That's the trade of that's the meta.
Wow. Wow.
Did you guys see
Um,
that? Did you guys see that Suzu and Kyle and one other guy are starting a new podcast?
I saw that. Yeah, they're
I'm
trying
curious
to run it back.
I'm curious to listen in and see that it's on MLK Day, so I guess Monday. We should get Sue on this podcast. I know it's going to be a little bit always controversial, but I think he now that we're in the theme of like what did we learn from last cycle and give our viewers some of the lessons to avoid as we get into the meat of 2024 cycle. I think getting the guy from Luna, and then I would love to get people are excited in the chat. They want Sue on. I think it'll be an interesting banger episode. So we'll try to make that happen.
Oh, I think he's gone. What the heck? He's liquidated. Oh no! What?
it's funny. I see another question here, Jordy. We were talking about this before the show, but
There's some amazing comments. This guy says, "Remove Thicky, get Sue. At least he won't be short."
Jeez. Yes. What do you think of the Celsius ETH supply? I know we talked about this before the show, Jordy, but you're not as concerned about it. It looks like they're going to be redeeming some staked ETH, or we're not sure yet. What's happening there, Thicky and Jordy?
I mean, I think they funded their activities. They said that they were selling in order to fund their lawyers, whatever. I think at this point, hopefully it's funded. It did give everybody a good buying opportunity. So hopefully our listeners took the buying opportunity. I think at this point they have to give back the ETH. They have to distribute it. And I don't think if people get it, they're going to sell it. I think people that were ETH holders that are going to get back their ETH are going to stake it.
I mean, like, also, we were kind of, I think like the October-ish, like we were kind of bearish Solana because of the unlocks, right? But at some point, it starts to matter less because if most of the selling is over, then people will eventually just say fuck it and buy, right? So I feel like that's also.
But with Solana, none of that selling has actually started, right?
What?
No, they sold. They sold a lot. They sold a bunch.
They sold $1 billion.
But I thought till in 2025, that's when FTX's holdings really unlock and will be liquidated, right? I guess that's just too far out for people to care about.
They're unlocking it'll like double the inflation rate, essentially, is how much they're unlocking. But it's not a cliff, it's a linear thing.
Oh, interesting.
And they sold
So
$1 billion
yeah.
already.
It's still
I've been talking about the March 2025 unlock because it's like a whole year's worth in one go. But there is like a monthly, just constant thing going on forever. Again, like
they're berating me in the comment section. I did not want to be the gym.
He was bearish at the bottom in the whole Solana.
But to be fair, Wagme,
Yeah,
it's not
Thicky,
just
yeah.
him. It was me and Jordy too. I don't remember if Thicky was like
It was
bearish or bullish
Thicky,
then, but I know Jordy and I were on. Yeah.
It's no,
I
I'll take the blame.
I am bullish the Solana community, and I think despite the assets unlocks, that there will be a good community there. I actually bought a Mad Lads this week, so it was not cheap. It was like $20,000. Yeah, and that was the floor. I know I didn't even get like one of the skulls. There's like 99 skulls for 100K. But what I realized is these guys are like an amazing community, and people are starting to want to reach out to them. All the projects that I talk to, they're like, "Hey, should we give airdrops to Mad Lads?" And once I hear that, I'm like, "Yeah, you should, and I should also be a Mad Lad." I mean, it's just so obvious. And I think there's a lot of projects like Wormhole, like a lot of really strong ones that I think will really want to tap into that community because it's a really good community. I'm already enjoying being part of it.
Should we make Mad Lads the official NFT partner of Steady Lads? Should the four of us all just buy a Mad Lad and rock it as a PFP for a week? That could be a fun little thing, just as our little apology tour to their community.
Apology tour.
I don't think we need to apologize. But the fact that it's lads, it's like, you know, the steady
Yeah.
lad became a mad lad. So I think it's not a bad idea if you guys wanna join in and cash out some of the ETF winnings.
I'll buy it
Um,
lower.
you'll buy
You
lower.
think you will buy
Okay.
that $200?
I'll buy it like 5K.
I think he's been deep in the Solana ecosystem. So he saw last cycle kind of you know, I had a few NFTs from Solana last cycle. I had like a shark NFT. I think I bought it for
Oh yeah. That was your
5K
profile
or
picture
something.
for a long time. That shark.
Yeah. So I've been in the streets. I've been in the Solana streets for a long time.
Got an
Heike,
interesting one here.
oh,
What's the most crypto Cito? I think another YouTuber. So hey there. I think we got a. What's your most promising project launch this year? I feel like Taiki's best poised to answer this one, right?
I think it's just two, right? There's only two options.
It's only
I don't think
two
anybody else
Eigenlayer
comes close.
and what would the second one be?
Eigenlayer and
Monad is 2025.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Monad.
They
Monad's
got pushed.
2025.
They got pushed.
no.
2025?
Kobe
I
said
don't-
it's pushed.
That was Q4.
Really?
Well, I mean,
No,
I'm just taking off of Kobe's tweet. I'm bullish.
What did he-
I'm looking forward to Dimension. My first
What's
big
that?
airdrop this cycle. It's
So
the
is
settlement
that
layer
already
on
trading?
Celestia.
is
No,
that, is that no?
no, it's on Avo. It's trading at 4 billion FTV. I think it'll go higher. I think it'll be my first.
Oh, there's just a perp market started for it.
They're all such good shorts. Like Jupe at 8. Like, I don't mean to step on any like toes here, but Jupe at 8. Are you serious? I'm a good amount of the OI on Hyperliquid for.
Liquidate this man.
Yo, you gotta hunt this man.
Please, I got more limits. I only filled the tiny position.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the Hyperliquid.
I wouldn't be surprised if like Thicky gets liquidated for all his account on Hyperliquid, but then like the airdrop from the Hyperliquid airdrop ends up like building it back up.
You get more points or losing more money to the vaults. You
Are you
get
serious?
points to the loser. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
hold up.
genius.
Actually,
People
Justin,
want to
you
talk about Eigenlayer a little bit. I mean, when will ETH staking be on Eigenlayer? Like, when we talk about Eigenlayer, I mean, Eigenlayer will definitely be, you know, the Giga Brain launch of H1 at least, or I'm not sure when the token actually itself is coming out, but of the year. So Meth will be available on Eigenlayer January 29th, so in 2 weeks, only for 5 days, and only 200,000 ETH. So.
We're like selling Oriental rugs. Only 5 days only. Did we
Yeah,
want?
Eigenlayer is like the most hyped to launch. When do you think? Like, where do you think it launches at? It must launch like 8 billion or 10 billion FTV, right?
28 billion.
28 20 plus
Ah.
20 plus
20 plus.
I think
Jeez.
20 I think
It always depends on how much they airdrop, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I talked about this like 20 episodes ago, but
You did talk about it.
Yeah. When Eigenlayer was, you know, now it might be too diluted, but when the caps were, when you got in and the cap was like 10,000 ETH and it was very low, I built a little spreadsheet that I've still been referencing that calculates, you know, the expected value of the airdrop. And I think at the time, my most bullish case was that it was a 5 billion FTV and this airdrop was going to be massive. And now I think I have to revise that up. And I think it's going to be a pretty solid airdrop. Hopefully I turn some folks onto it.
Yeah, dog. Hopefully you can retire off of it. You projected 30% back in the day, and I was like, it's not that good. I wish I just fucking listened to you, because I think it's going to be a lot more than 30% now, even in ETH terms, not just dollar terms.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. And I think the cap is Taiki, you actually pulled out, right? But the cap is, there's still a cap and it's filled, or is it open for?
I think they lifted it just now, so the points are going to be more diluted.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so basically they're going to let in 200,000 ETH from Meth, from Frax ETH, and from one more. So I think those are the next kind of available ones to come in.
Yeah, I think this comment is pretty accurate because I've been calling for the Cardano pump and I think it's still going to happen. I kind of said Solana would go against me, and it did. And I think this is right. I sort of can see these answers, but I never act on them. I'm too scared to sell my ETH.
Let's just give the listeners the comment. The comment was, Justin is that get kid in class who predicts the test questions but doesn't study. So
that's accurate. I never studied in school either. It's true. I saw some questions too about like the systemic risks that Eigenlayer would pose. And I've been sort of sharing this new thesis I have slowly, and then, I'm saying it more and more now, but I've come to believe that like Lido, staked ETH, poses as big of a risk, but I kind of believe now that it's so big that we would actually have to fork the entire network, roll back the chain to recover like staked ETH or any of these big ones like Coinbase staked ETH or maybe Mantle staked ETH someday, Eigenlayer in the future. Like if these things become big enough, we're going to have issues. There's bugs in all code, and we're probably going to have to roll back the chain at some point again, which is going to be very interesting how that impacts the narrative. Like I do think it is a serious risk because there's always bugs. I mean, no matter how much you audit this code, there's going to be bugs.
Scary to think about. They would potentially roll it back for something like Lido, like a 20 billion damage, even if they say they won't. Vitalik is kind of adamant, but it's just so much. Like if there was really that level of an issue, but thankfully, these things do move kind of slowly and carefully.
What other questions do we have?
What do we think about the V33 concept? I mean, and what do we think about Curve? There's been some interesting situation with Curve. They did that round. We were talking about it over the summer. It was at 40 cents. They had all kinds of questionable characters joining that round. And, the price has been generally staying above 40 cents since then. But I saw like some interesting comments that Sifu has been borrowing it and he could try to like liquidate. And there's some games going on with the supply. It seems to be holding relatively steady. Have any of you guys been tracking Curve lately?
It's interesting how like Curve as a DEX has faded from the conversation, but I think Curve has like crossed the chasm into this like meme coin that's not going away regardless. I don't really think Curve is going to be as relevant going forward as a DEX. It's literally just worse than Uni. I mean, it provides UX advantages for lazy LPs, but it's just a worse DEX all around. But I think the token has like crossed the chasm where it's just going to go up with the market if the market goes up, and it's like past the point of having to ever worry about fundamentals. I mean, do you guys think that's right or no?
It's a very different product than Uniswap. I mean, part of it is similar, but then they have things like tripools. They allow rebasing tokens. They have
they
own
have a different
stablecoin.
customer, right? Like they're not actually trying to provide the best swap. They're like trying to provide a way to lazy LP and like a vault that accrues capital. But I just don't believe those things can perform well because they're just going to get out competed.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's also like the governance element, which is kind of not doing so well. And the original question was around VE33, which is more for like the solidly model, like with that, like the thing Andre created. And like, I think the username was Dina Scribe. So it's like the solidly fork on Binance Smart Chain. I don't know, like anything that has to do with like crazy inflation, I just like don't think it's that sustainable. I think Uniswap is basically the top DEX, and there's not much anyone else can do about it.
Do you guys still like use Uniswap at all, like the front end? Because isn't there like a fee now? You have to pay like 20 bips, or is it even more on using the front end itself?
Yeah, on
CalSwap.
I exclusively use 1inch. I never use anything else. I've compared it with CalSwap. It could have changed, but as of maybe 6 months ago, so not too recent, 1inch performed slightly better. I mean, it doesn't really make a huge difference. And then just from like a security perspective, I feel like 1inch has like a little more Lindy there, but and you can not have to deal with like, you can just set your slippage to 0 if you want MEV protection. You don't need to sort of go through the coincidence of WAN/intense model. So I'm always on 1inch, and Uniswap blocks certain tokens too, I believe, which is kind of strange.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited for the UI and UX of these things to get a lot better, where people don't have to go and change their RPCs and like, figure out all this kind of complicated stuff. I know that there's a lot of people building on Curve. Let's see what's his comment. Curve have a strong RWA narrative backed by Australian real estate.
Loston, you are killing me with these comments. You're fucking cracking
Yeah.
me up. It's amazing.
This
we
guy's
need you
good.
to make some memes for our meme contest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can we talk
you-
about this question by Samuel? The most left curve play to ride like the ETH cycle.
Yes.
Can you pull it up, Justin?
There we
I'm
go.
kind of curious about this one. Like,
I
what do
think
you
we know what it is. I don't think it's gonna work. It's obviously Pepe, right? Like that's kind of what people immediately jump to as soon as ETH pumps. But Pepe has been the easiest coin to short in history. It just never sustains. Whoever is like behind Pepe and doing it's just clearly not a 3-3 type of. They're not left curve enough. I think they're not just like tarded enough to just keep going with it and hold it through billions of FTV. As soon as it reaches, it can't even pump anymore. I don't even know. I barely see it pumping, but that's the left curve play.
I was actually going to say something different that maybe is a little safer, but maybe is more of a legacy coin. Is Chainlink and Link. I mean, Link ETH has to do well for Link to do well, right? Everyone's shaking their
like,
head.
no.
Are the flows bad, Thicky? Have you been watching? What's wrong? Where did I get this wrong? I mean, I feel like Chainlink, like if ETH goes up 2x, Chainlink is going to 3x, 4x, right?
There's no way that's a left curve play. Like I was thinking like Solana and like Whiff. Like
But Chainlink is the most left curve token ever. I mean, you remember the Link Marines? That's like
you're gonna
That-
anger some people, man.
That might
They're
be
gonna come
mid
after
curve.
you.
That might be a mid curve
Yeah.
play. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it quite on the left curve.
It might just be long ETH. Like everything is pumped except for ETH. Like I think it just like everyone's like, oh, ETH beta, ETH beta. I think ETH pumps harder than ETH beta at some point. Or like, it does better on the, like it maybe ETH beta does 2x on the upside, but 4x on the downside is ETH, that kind of thing.
I mean, what things are actually ETH beta? I want to talk about this a little bit. I think there's a lot of dumb things I hear about ETH beta, and like Lido, for example, as being like this ETH beta.
He hates Lido. The trifecta is optimism, Arbitrum, and Lido. Yes.
So I've been saying for a very long time that like Lido is not beta to ETH. The beta is 1. It's 1-to-1. They earn ETH. If ETH goes up by like 10%, like Lido should go up by 10%. It can't go up by more. It doesn't make any sense. And you can kind of like do a DCF analysis. This is the problem with the Lido coin, why I'll never go long Lido. You can actually, it's not a meme coin. You can do the analysis. You can see like what the cash flows are, and you can see that it literally does not make sense to be above like a 0.01 ratio, whatever, or like what's the exact like
It's been ranging between 0.01 and 0.02 for like years.
It has. I think 0.01 is literally the optimistic case, and anything above that, falls apart. So
there seems to be a lot of sellers at 0.02. A lot of sellers there.
Yeah.
Wonder who they could be.
Yeah, maybe Mr. Kanav. I don't know. There's like the meme going on that Jump is always the one selling Lido whenever it starts to pump, but that seems to be the case. The one I want to ask you guys that I don't understand that well is OP, like Optimism. Obviously, it is one of the large L2s, but they keep this. They like you said, they're giving money to bankless Turkey and bankless Africa and bankless like whatever, and they're just like throwing money to different organizations. How is all that selling pressure getting absorbed? Is this just like the A16Zs, or who is buying OP so hard?
Isn't this like EIP 4844? It's like people just, it's like the double narrative of ETH beta. Like people thinking it's ETH beta, so it's like things they bid, and then people, oh, it's like, oh, it's 4844, might as well buy OP. And then, like Lido peaked 2 months before Chapella, so maybe it peaks 2 months before 4844. It might be one of those things.
Economically, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like OP's like revenues are way behind, and what it tells me is that there's probably still a lot of ETH OGs holding ETH coins, making money, and then just like rotating some of their profits into OP because it's very aligned with like the Ethereum Foundation and the OGs. Otherwise, I can't explain why it would be doing better than Arbitrum when all the metrics are more in the Arbitrum direction.
I mean, even aside from that, like ARB, OP, I mean, there's so many of these L2s all competing for the same market, and they don't have a differentiator. I mean, we keep talking about Mantle, but Mantle has this massive treasury, and that like doesn't involve token sell pressure. So like OP is trying to get all this stuff done. It costs money, and that means giving out OP to people who presumably sell it. Like, do you think these layer twos are just competing for like a race to the bottom? And like, what's the differentiator here? Does that treasury that Mantle has, is that going to make a big difference? Or like, is everyone just competing away that all like the margin on fees is just going to go to zero?
Each L2 has a different path. I think it's fascinating to watch. We have like ZK Sync that people are saying that airdrop's going to be big because they're going to be able to exclude a lot of wallets. That's been the most air farm dropped. Like there's Telegram bots and like all this stuff that have been making wallets and doing random transactions to farm that. If they cut all those guys out and they just narrow it down to like 10,000 wallets or something, I'll be amazed. But they have their play.
But I mean, I disagree that ARB and OP have different plays. I mean, it's the exact like the same apps. I mean, ARB has some more incentives like that are directly on chain paid out for yield. But if OP did that, it's not like the users wouldn't move over, right? Like the people that are on OP using that stuff are, I don't want to say predatory because they're like providing some service using the chain, testing it out, etc. But like people are going to move where the incentives are. So I don't know if ARB and OP are like sufficiently differentiated right now, personally.
Yeah, and I'm on BitCurve, so like take everything I say with a grain of salt. But it's like Thinky and I talked about this, but it's like there's so much supply of all these new tokens that when ZK Sync drops, like Starkware, Tycho, Scroll, it's like, is there enough money to support all these assets, right? Like I just like don't really see it. So I'm not really bullish L2 tokens. I mean, short term they can pump, but like I can't view them as investments,
I mean, as long as like there's money flowing in, BTC are both going up, stablecoin supply is going up, yes. But as soon as that reverses, it gets really reflexive down. Yeah,
we'll see. I think there will be winners and losers. I don't think they're all gonna do the same as an asset class. I really think there's gonna be some that go to zero and some that do really well. I am very curious to see what happens to Manta and to Blast because they have locked up close to $1 billion or like around $1 billion each. I think Manta's a bit lower, but is up there. And people are clearly like farming airdrops, and they will get an airdrop, and we'll see what happens after the airdrop.
Yeah.
Does that money stay or does it leave? And I mean, Taiki, you're probably like the type of person that locks up into these things. Like,
yeah, I'm actually like bullish Manta. Like, I mean, AVO pricing is not that useful, but I think it's like at $3 right now. So they're going to airdrop 5% of the supply to bridgers, which is $150 million stimulus to anyone that bridged over. And because of how the bridging works and how Manta actually exists as layer 2, unlike Blast, people are selling like Stone, which is like staked ETH, right, for ETH. And Stone is depegged. I think the ratio is like 0.95 now. But like people like me, I bought Stone at a discount, like 0.9 to 0.93. And the fact that that all this depeg is happening actually incentivizes more people to bridge onto Manta to capture the arbitrage. I think USDM, which like the stablecoin, is depegged by like 5% as well. So I think that when they do an airdrop and people get like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of value, people will stay because they might do incentives. There might be more LP volume because of all the depeg and whatnot. Can it sustain? I have no idea, but I can see Manta having like I can definitely see like Manta surprising like the ETH maxis that's like been ignoring it.
That's the thing. I mean, you can make a claim about, a bullish case for all of this stuff. You could say that, Blast is the one that's going to be more sustainable because there's like this DeFi trading going on and, NFTs. Actually, like I will say, like NFTs are probably due for like a little bit of a gamble season on NFTs again. So I can see potentially Blast doing okay. Especially if that mania comes back, which I think there's a decent chance that it will. So
I just want to say, before we move on, I think ARB gets nuked. I think it goes to like 0.
Because
Not
the
zero.
unlock?
Goes the unlock. I mean, look what happened with Optimism. There was a massive cliff, and then it literally re-rated to 1/3 of Arbitrum's value. And obviously, like these things over the long runs, like they correct. Now, like I think Optimism flipped Arbitrum for a little bit. Now Arbitrum's back over, but when it's $2.5 billion of supply that gets unlocked instantly, like unless you get like a Kyle Samani savior type situation, like the ARB-OP ratios is going downtown.
interesting.
Anyway.
Interesting. I think he's in a doomer mode. He thinks the market's going down, ARB's going to 0.
That's how you know he's short ARB. That's how you know.
He's in his
I'm not
doomer
sure.
arc.
I'm not short ARB yet.
All right.
Meanwhile,
Unlocks
the
in
chat is
March, by the way, Sebastian.
March. Okay.
March.
Should we go through our meme contest here? Our little
Yeah,
first of its kind.
we should just.
All right. Who wants to? I'll shoot first. How about that?
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. What do we got? So a Steady Lads viewer must have submitted this. Someone that's been watching the show and knows my vibe. So impermanent gains. Hopefully, if you're watching, drop a comment. We'll feature your comment live. But he writes, ETH bag holder in chief, Mr. Brem, and it's a picture of my head photoshopped onto this completely buff guy holding a massive bag of ETH. And I'm super chill with this. If this is how crypto Twitter sees me, like I'll take it. This is one of the most generous memes I've seen. So thank you, Impermanent Gains.
Looking
Much
great.
appreciated.
Yeah, such heavy bags right there.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
my
Justin
week. I
is-
get to gloat.
Justin is happy to have pecs for once in his life. This
Whoa.
picture is
You saw
massive.
that picture of me
Oh,
20
Justin's
episodes ago.
shredded.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I forgot. I forgot.
Both the Astaria bros are shredded.
Yeah.
Wait, who's stronger, you or Joseph?
Pound for pound, I'll say Joe. I'll be a nice guy.
Yeah, he carried sushi, so that alone,
Yeah.
Mr. DeLong. Yeah.
Taiki, what do you got?
All right, so this is in celebration of the ETF. It's like now that Wall Street can profit off of our bags. Larry Fink famously quoted, "It's our Ponzi now.
That's fun.
Send it."
That's fun. Can you believe he aped in like $1 billion of client flow at like 48K and now it's at 43.6? Like they just lost him. I didn't think that they would do this, but like they've lost them like what is that, 50 million, $100 million just instantly. I mean, it's bullish, but it's just so embarrassing, right, for him. Like,
yeah, but that's what's bullish. He's gonna have to make sure that it goes back in the black.
That's true. That's true, Jordy. That's very true.
Now he has more incentive to pump the ETH ETF, right?
That's
he's about to go bald. He's not bald yet, so
he's about to go buy it to rescue his underwater clients, dude.
So this was by Poor Dart, and I did post yesterday that I have the picture of Pablo Escobar waiting around, and I've been waiting for Poor Dart to post his competition meme for the meth contest. So we're still waiting. He says he's working on it. Excited to see that one. But we have had some bangers. I think we've had hundreds and hundreds of submissions. We are giving away 20 meth. which right now is still worth over $50,000. This was a very strong one. So people were crying about the ETH BTC ratio when I started the MEF 7% APY, and I plugged the hole. So that 7% has managed to stop the bleeding on the ratio. So this was pretty strong. We had one more I really liked so far. I don't know if you can find the other one, Justin, next to it.
APY.
Like Harvey Clapshaw.
So this was an awesome one as well. You have like all the little blocks and the bigger block, the chain reaction, and it starts with a friend introducing me to this new digital asset, Bitcoin, and then it ends with me buying meth at 3 a.m. So this was very well done.
Thicky, and you don't have a meme, right? So you are a judge of the week.
I'll be the judge. Well, I want to ask first, Jordy, like, what do you think the effects are of each of these chains locking in $1 billion of ETH for like quarters? Like, what is the effect on ETH price? What is the effect on ETH ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been generally negative, surprisingly, because it hasn't allowed as much activity to happen as it would if these people just had their ETH available. So like if somebody had 20 ETH and they put 10 of it into the bridge, like locked it up in a multisig for 3 months, and then like something exciting happens, they want to trade, they want to do something, they have half their stack gone away. So that reduces the activity, reduces the amount of ETH burned, like the amount of attention. Obviously, like that will unlock soon enough. So it should be okay soon, but it hasn't been great to have everything locked up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. I almost view it as like they're kind of cucking themselves now for like an insane season when they get their wealth effect and all these airdrops come, and then $3 billion of ETH gets liquid again. It's just going to be an insane. I'm getting so bullish ETH just thinking about it. This is Cheating's thesis that he wrote about.
This might be my favorite Steady Lads episode, number 25 for the books. Oh no, we lost Jordy.
He got too excited.
He got too excited. He must have hit control refresh.
I'm getting so bullish on ETH. The more I think about it.
Yeah. So Thicky, well, are you going to crown me with the win for the meme of the week? I mean, Jordy's not here, so you might be able to sneak a win to me.
I was gonna pick Tyke's. I like all of them, but I like Tyke's just because I profited off of it.
I don't even remember what Tyke was. What the heck?
Dude,
it's just like Larry big down bad, dude.
It's our Ponzi. And it looks like Jordy is back and we're ready to round out the show. So Jordy, you missed it, but Tyke won the meme contest. Thicky crowned him.
I thought the Kanye thing was really good, and
the Kanye thing was.
Yeah.
I would have won it if that were a submission. It was not a valid submission,
Okay. Wait, Brad, do you have the? Or maybe he doesn't have the meme one. He has a pasta. Maybe he doesn't have the. It's okay.
Oh, the graphic of meme of the week.
Yeah,
I don't think we have that graphic.
Yeah,
Brad is our amazing producer. For those listening who are wondering who Tyke was shouting at.
Yeah. Wait. Sorry, I have one final question. Like, why is the L2? Why is the ETH unlocking from L2 is like bullish ETH?
Well, first of all, there's just a lot more ETH back that's liquid to like ape on shitcoins than burn ETH, which is like you just like incentivized activity. But second, there's like a wealth effect. Like these guys are the type of people that like buy other things, and they're about to get massive airdrops. Assuming the market can hold up in a month or two's time, like they're about to get massive airdrops, which is basically just like everyone else pouring money into the ETH ecosystem because they need to go buy the airdrops. So just like how Solana,
it's like airdrop liquidity, right? Yeah,
exactly. It'll make Celsius's like 500 million or however much they have to sell just look like dust.
Yeah, that's why I'm so bullish airdrops this year. Like people are gonna get so much money, like as long as you were like paying attention the past couple of months.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not be excited this year? There's so much money to go around.
The
Famous
chat
last
is,
words,
the
everybody.
chat is just like spamming Jordy Kanye.
Jordy
So I don't know if
Kanye.
I like this. I think we
So
need
do
to
I
end the
get the
stream
win or
here.
does Jordy?
We got to cut it here, guys. This is
We-
not.
Can we post that on Twitter? I kind of want to do this.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
All right.
All right, guys, let's wrap up. It's been a fun episode and obviously a turbulent week. So good to do a live one during this week. Please like, share, subscribe. Our editor loves the subscribes.
Yes.
Like I said, next week we're looking forward to potentially an interesting episode about the Luna crash. So hope you guys join us for that. Take
I think
care.
it's just one guy spamming Jordy Kanye over and over again. It's just,
No, there's like 5 different guys. They're all
Oh, is
spamming. Yeah.
Run a poll. We're gonna get the tech to run a poll next time. That would be fun. So we can do a live poll of
Yeah.
the winner.
Let's do it. Cool.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
See you guys.